documents, where I even published secret documents of Freemasonry in Japan and Korea, just to show that there is actually factual evidence on what we are talking about, because I don't want to be anymore in the realm of the conspiracy theory, but I want to also launch this year. In the next few weeks, we're going to start really doing that. My website in a different direction. Unfortunately, in the last year, you said, what happened, Leo? What happened is that we were infiltrated by some religious fanatics, that these religious fanatics proven to not be really supporting the release of truth onto the world, but they only wanted to use me for their own, for their own agenda? I don't know. Agenda, yes. For their own agenda.
To get their own information out there.
Yes, and I ended up with this woman that I met in the United States that replied to my offer of having a dinner with the Grand Master of the Illuminati, which was this Monique Armstrong. And I then, unfortunately, discovered that she was working for a Zionist Christian organization held by Rabbi Eckstein, and that ended up in Jerusalem with people like Rabbi Grossman. So, and these people are connected with Billy Graham, with Pat Robertson, with all those people, okay?
Right.
And these people were trying to use this kind of Christian image, like the International House of Prayer in Kansas City, to manipulate people into their own agenda. And they were using me to give them, credibility. I then discovered later on that this person was actually a voodoo witch doctor herself, that she was not actually a priest even of the law, because obviously voodoo can be a religion like everyone else, like any other religion. But unfortunately, voodoo, like Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, suffers from the fact that a minority, evil minority, has taken over the religion. And so the bokors, the sorcerers of voodoo, are the ones who actually manipulate even the priests of the law, who are actually good people. And that's what has happened also in Haiti and in New Orleans. Now, it's not a coincidence that these two places go down in this way, because these two places are specifically and particularly connected with these sorcerers, the Bokor, who are a minority. I agree, they are a minority. I mean, it's a minority that makes zombies and does all the evil that is portrayed in the horror movies. The majority of people in the animist voodoo tradition are positive people. I agree with that. But unfortunately, like it happens in Islam, where the fundamentalists take control of the whole of the majority with their actions, the same happens in voodoo. And it happens in Christianity, where a minority talks on behalf of Jesus Christ and does whatever they want, to accomplish their evil goals. And the same has happened with all other religions. Unfortunately, organized religion is a perfect tool for manipulation.
Well, if you give you're giving one body of people an immense amount of power, and when people start following that, these people get a major hold on the conscious mind, and not only that, mentally, they get a hold of you emotionally. They really manipulate people. I've seen it happen to my friends. I've seen it happen to past loved ones. Everyone is manipulated by these people. When they get into power, it corrupts them.
It's obvious that bad things have been done, brought them the word of liberation or of Jesus in the wrong way, because you can't force anything upon people, even if it's a good thing. And the same thing was done also with the Vikings. They went there, they said, either we chop off your heads or you convert to Christianity.
Right.
Now, when you do this, you create a bad karmic field, and you create a bad karmic approach. And so these people will never really be true Christians or be loyal to anything that is positive in your faith, if there is such positivity. Because you are actually forcing them. And Jesus never want to force anybody. Okay? The forcing element of making people force into their religion was actually achieved by Muhammad, because Muhammad went around in a more military fashion, and he went against the pagan religions in the area in a more military fashion. Jesus was a high-level initiate like Buddha, who couldn't care less if they accepted or not the revelation. He was doing his job, but he didn't want this his words to be used, or his material, his physical body to be used in a revolution. In fact, he declined the use of force. And this is clear in the Bible. I mean, it's not me saying it, you just have to read it, okay? So if the followers of that religion do exactly the opposite of him who actually is supposed to have brought this religion to mankind, well, I'm sorry, but then bad things happened. Okay? I spoke recently, and I wrote an article about the connections of the dark side of the Illuminati, of Freemasonry, with Haiti, because there was a high-level initiate called Martinez de Pasquali, who actually died in Port-au-Prince in, I think it was 1771, that formed a very strong chapter of adepts of magic called the Louis de Cohen within the high-level initiates of Freemasonry, even where Freemasonry was actually, let's say, born in a certain way, because it was born between France and Scotland and England. So in France, his teachings then became inspirational for another person called Claude de Saint-Martin that founded his movement called the Martinists. Then this movement was revived by another occultist later on at the beginning of the 19th century called Papus. And then these teachings filtered all the way inside the Russian court during the period in which Tsar Nikolai II should be actually taking care of his citizens. He was taking care of it in a magical way that didn't really work out. In fact, thanks to that, the whole thing went to hell, and we ended up with the Soviet Union. So, I mean, I'm talking here about connections that are actually proven historically. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I want to find the evidence before I say there is a conspiracy.
Right.
And this evidence I found directly myself by going inside the lodges, the conventicles of the Martinists, the chapters of the Rosicrucians, the various secret societies of the Western world, and finding out where these dark elements were coming from. And it also happened during my research that I found out that a lot of this negativity and hate was coming from this imposition of Christianity upon the people of certain races. Because then, when you impose something, they will go underground and do it in a more illegitimate fashion, which is more easily actually manipulated by the dark side. So this happened also with the Viking religion. And that's why in Iceland, yes, they apparently converted to Christianity, but in reality, there is still Astra, there is still the old Viking religion deeply entrenched in their belief system and in their daily life for the Icelanders. Not so much for the Norwegians, but then the Norwegians themselves have this depository of secret knowledge from the Viking times that were left in these secret societies that then merged and